Hello and welcome to Sports by Compion Midwest Rugby Edition. I am, of course, your host, Stephen Compion, and I'm joined here by returning guests, the Gargoyle who broke it all down for us last year, really the heart and soul of this team, as you can see by his beard. Mr. Steve Vitus is back. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, living the dream, man. Happy to have you back on the show. Got a nice Marvel backdrop in the background there, and you look cool as always. How do you manage to just look so cool all the time? Is it the
Uh,
beard?
Honestly, I just pay my barber Ricky $50 every few weeks to clean me up, and then I look like a human being again. Otherwise, I've got really no tips or tricks for you.
Speaking of which, I'm actually going to go see my barber tomorrow because, as you can see, I'm quite scruffy. And you know what's coming this Saturday, Steve?
Season opener.
Game day, baby! It's coming! The fall season is upon us, Steve. Let's talk all things gargoyles. Let's backtrack, of course, to the spring when a certain team from Rockford traveled up to see our brothers. At that point, our little brothers, but the tables have turned a little bit, huh, Steve?
The table's definitely turned in our favor. I don't really know if it was a morale thing or if it was a who was there at certain day type thing. Because some days you got your whole squad showing up, and other days it's like hard to travel, so it's hard to convey the
Sure.
total strength of your team. But the guys we got going right now, they've been very consistent, and it's been absolutely awesome to have a set of guys that you can consistently rely on week after week, and you actually like develop true strong core. And I think that's kind of what we just ran into is that we've got that core now, and it's humming.
That core is playing really well together right now. I don't know if we faced a well, I mean, we played Fox Valley, so besides them, you guys were definitely the best backline we faced in the spring season. It was hard to well, we also played Peoria, it was pretty good too. But anyway, the point is, Steve, that backline is young and they're all fucking connecting perfectly, and they seem like they have great chemistry. It's absolutely scary for anyone who's your guys' opponents.
Honestly, the backline we have now is a terrific set of guys. We've got the Melzo brothers, and well, they're brothers, so they're immediately in sync with each other, kind of like Barry and I are on defense. The Melzos are in the backline on offense. They know what the other's doing, and we've got Trevor, who is just he's one of the meanest defensive players you'd ever want to meet, and
He is.
like he hits like he's 3 times his size. Like he's incredible. And over the last year, he's really picked up on his love for the team, his love for the game, and his knowledge of the game has become tenfold. Like he's absolutely developed into a very threatening player, and I'm super proud of him for it.
Yeah, I think we started to see a little bit of that development last summer during some of those tournaments. You know, you started to see him really start to turn it on towards those unknown tournaments, like especially Memorial 10s last year. And man, did he carry that into this year? Just full throttle, like you said, being much more involved with the sport, going on a couple different tours and such. But man, shout out to Trevor. Hell of a game against us, of course, and I imagine throughout the spring season for you guys. How'd you boys end up record wise?
For the spring season, honestly, I couldn't tell you. As far
Positive
as
score?
positive score for sure.
Nice.
Every tournament that we did, we had a positive record at. It's usually around 2-1. But like Harborfest, we went all the way to second
Well,
place.
I more mean the spring season as opposed to the summer. I wasn't
s-
expecting to track the summer.
the spring season, still positive. I mean,
Yeah, I imagine.
we didn't have a ton of games for the spring, so it's like I think we had uh, one the friendly match with you guys and the one with Lake County, and they both ended up in our favor. So it was no complaints, honestly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, getting back to our game, I think we should officially name that trophy Big Brother Trophy. Because whoever's holding it is the current Big Brother. Makes sense to me, don't you think, Steve?
I mean, I can live with that. Definitely can brainstorm more upon that because I'm sure that you guys are gonna want me to build something. So
Well, we already got something to build upon, so that's for sure. But yeah, I do think that'd be an excellent name for the trophy. Something to consider. So hopping into the spring season, well, wrapping up the spring season. You guys had a couple standouts as far as the forwards too. Some real big boys I hadn't seen in previous years. One of them gave me a mild concussion and re-injured my knee. Real nice guy. Talk about some of your young forwards.
Some of the young forwards we have, not so much like rookie forwards, but they're young guys who ebb and flow from the game. We've got Khalil. He's been coming back pretty consistently. He's a spitfire of a kid. He's always ready to just take it head first into action. Um, who else we got going on in the forwards? Actually, it's not really that many young forwards that I
Well,
remember.
I remember there was a guy who like buried Skip on that one hit after Skip buried him, and then like I said, the really big guy with like the kind of fro hawk, well, not a fro hawk, but yeah, like kind
With
of
the
hair.
man
Anyway,
bun? Yeah, that's Khalil.
yeah, it could be. Yeah, no, that was Khalil who hit Skip, and then there was another guy. But either way, looks like you guys are building some strong a strong forward pack. That pack was brutal. You guys weren't missing a lot of tackles. So headed into this fall season, Steve, what are we thinking? What's the schedule look like? Who are you guys opening against?
We're opening up against the Barbos this
Okay.
Saturday. Um, as far as the season goes and our expectations of it, it's as it ever was. We just take it week by week. Um, we are well aware that we have done well for ourselves, and we should continue upon that. Not take it lightly, not so much to like ride upon accolades, but to keep the momentum going forward. So, uh, pretty much just treat every match like it's 0-0, and we got something to prove. Like we did make a name for ourselves. We've done a really good job of developing an attitude that we always need to prove ourselves in everything we do for the full 80 minutes, and it's been something really special over the last few years to watch them actually like put their hearts into it.
That's awesome. Definitely. Steve, who would you say is your favorite Marvel hero?
My favorite Marvel hero would be shit, Spider-Man, and
Spider-Man?
hands down.
Okay. Can respect it.
It's been my favorite since I was a kid, and when I was a kid, dreaming when I was gonna have a son, I was like, I'm gonna make him a Spider-Man fan, and like lo and behold, Levi loves Spider-Man.
Nice. Nice. So it went well.
It did go well. He's got like 3 different stuffies, blankets, clothes. Yeah, it feels good on the inside.
You liking the new Spider-Man right now, Tom Hardy? Or not Tom Hardy, Tom Hollander, whatever.
Uh, Tom Holland, he took a minute to grow on me. Honestly, I was a big Andrew Garfield fan. To be quite honest with you, I thought he was just like the right amount of quirky for Peter Parker. So I was originally against Tom, but
Hmm.
after a while, I was like, "Guy's all right."
Yeah. Just have it down a little bit. I don't mind him. Anyway, getting back to the rugbies. So Barbos are starting up. What's going on with them? Are they a decent squad as usual? Obviously, right there in Milwaukee, they always have big numbers. They're also D2 squad, right?
Right, and honestly, the Barbos are really hard to keep track of because of their D2 squad. So sometimes they've got um, bare bones, and it's probably gonna be a pretty straightforward match. And other times they've got good chunk of their heavy hitters, and it's going to be a fight for our lives. And it's like could be anywhere in between based on who they got showing up. So
Sure.
uh, it's anyone's guess, and we always just kind of treat it like it's going to be that they've got the heavy hitters, and we just got to bring what we got.
Are you guys going to them or are they coming to you?
Um, so we had issues with scheduling our field and the city and what they wanted to schedule, so we had to do some emergency moving around. And so we are both actually traveling to Oshkosh to play in that match this Saturday.
You guys do that pretty often, huh?
Uh, I think we've done it a couple times in the
Yeah,
past,
maybe not
more than
often.
we've liked to. There were definitely some words said in the officers chat about how that all transpired, but that's neither here nor there.
Fair enough. Is Peter still playing 10 for you?
Yes.
Nice.
I shouldn't say
Him and
I
Muzz
shouldn't
are
say
kind of
yes.
transitioning, right?
Yeah, it's so and Peters is definitely moving towards like old boy-ish range. So
Gotcha.
um we might be looking to slot him in other places where he's definitely viable because we're looking to get Melzo's in on that action.
That makes sense, especially yeah, Ryan's really starting to put it together.
Mhm.
He was absolutely dangerous the other game. Well, that's pretty cool. Do you guys how's your guys' youth programs going? Still
Uh,
developing those?
the youth programs are still phenomenal. We've got, I think, still 4 or 5 different age brackets that we're running teams in, and all 3 of my kids were in the youth programs this year, so it was definitely a busy spring between my rugby and their rugby, but super awesome to see them,
Nice.
start on the basics way earlier, than I ever started the game, and like they're already developing a love for it, and you watch them like do the correct thing at such a young age, and it just like fills you with such a vigor.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
like, watching Levi play rugby and like he's kind of figuring it out. I mean, he's 4, so like as much as he can grasp, but like when ball's out, that boy knows how to shoot. Like he is always shooting up on defense. And
Nice.
he told me after one game, he's like, "Daddy, I love to pull flags." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're my kid. You're my kid."
Defense is just bred into him, huh?
Like, we were born to hunt. That's what we do.
Can't complain. That's awesome. That's really cool. To see the next generation come up. Was it hard kind of getting those youth programs going? I know we kind of maybe talked about this last year, but was it hard kind of establishing them?
Um, Mostly just to I'm speaking from what I've heard through Dictus, who was a huge contributor. Actually, he was the forefather, if I remember right, of the youth program initially in the
Cool.
area, and it was mostly just the paperwork and everything was the real battle because he did a really good job of getting word out to the community, and he had like I think somewhere around 70 kids his first year.
Wow.
So he was busy, and it's tapered off since then because some of those kids lost interest in what it was, but it's still a pretty strong program of like 40
Yeah,
kids or so.
that's great. Good shout out Dictus out there putting in the work and
And
coming up with great nicknames in Scotland.
yeah, he's definitely one for just being a child sometimes. He's really good at it.
Love it. Absolutely. Um, Steve, what would you say is a good like your favorite Gargoyles memory? And the time that you've been with the club could be something off the field, could be a moment on the field. What's been your favorite Gargoyles memory so far?
Um my favorite Gargoyles memory would probably be we had a highway cleanup that we were doing, and adopt a highway, pick up the trash down the highway. And at work I had made a bunch of metal stakes, ground them to a point so we could stab the trash as we were going down the highway, make it easier. And we all hated doing it because it sucked.
Sure,
um but we wanted to do our part for the community, and um and just make a decent name for ourselves. And so we're doing our usual route, and we're going down the highway, and Will Russum, a good friend of mine from high school, actually I got him into rugby. He turned over something, and he's like, "I found $10," and he's like rubbing it in somebody's face that he found it because that was supposed to be where that guy was supposed to look for trash or something, but he was being obnoxious about it. And so we all get a laugh out of it, and about 10, 15-ish minutes later, we're continuing down, and I see a empty 30 rack of beer, and I pick up the case, and I look down, and there's Benjamin Franklin staring at me.
yeah,
And for about like 5 seconds, I'm just processing, like, nah, that's what I'm looking at. That's 100. That's mine. And I was like, "Hey, Will, I think I won on this one." And we all erupted into like, "Holy shit!" Like looking at it, like, "Is it real?" Like, "That's not a movie prop. This is a real bill, fully intact." And we're like, "What do we do?" And like, well, the end of our route was at the dugout, which was a tavern. So naturally, we're just like, we'll tell all the wives we'll go for a drink, and then we get to the tavern and we each order a pitcher and slide the $100 bill on the bar, and we each take our one beer and go to the table and take a picture, send it to our wives. They were like, "Hey, having our one beer," and then they all yell at us, and we laughed about it, and we were there for a few hours just having a great time, and it was just a moment with the boys, you know.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a cool story. Who knew? 110 bucks just sitting on the side of the highway. There you go, people. You could be out there cleaning your community, and you may or may not get paid for it by the gods. Isn't that nice? So, similar question. What's been your favorite athletic moment? It could be football, rugby, whatever.
Um, my favorite athletic moment was probably when we had actually taken when we'd beaten Peoria and gotten to second round of playoffs, which is just territory that we hadn't ever seen before. And we were told that the Gargoyles had a playoff run in like '07 or something, but that was just years ago. And it was just on a whim because Peoria stuck it to us early and maintained that lead, and we fought with everything, but we were still just could not get anything rallied. And right in the final minutes, one of their forwards goes into contact, goes down, they ruck over, and I'm running out of gas, but I'm like, Let's see if I got one more counter ruck lift in me." And I drill the dude, and he falls backwards, and there's the ball on the ground. It's like steal it off of him, and I turn and I scream at the boys, I'm like, "Boys, we gotta go!" And I stay on my feet for as long as I can until they all form up around me, and then I drop, present, and I couldn't see much of what happened later, but you hear what the crowd's doing. They're going wild, and you hear the serve blow the whistle a couple seconds later, and I was like, "Holy shit, we did it! We fucking did it!"
Wow,
And we were hugging each other afterwards because we could not fucking believe we actually pulled it off.
that's
Um,
incredible.
and it was just not only just a terrific win against a terrific team, but it was just we were able to say that we had done something that Gargoyles hadn't done in a very long time. So it really like validated us as a squad.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's definitely huge. I can understand that'd be a big moment. And it all came from just one last tank of gas, one last counter ruck. It's
Always
gotta
got
feel
a little
good.
more left in the tank.
Always gotta have a little bit left in the tank. Well, on that note, Steve, what would you say are some goals you have for the team? Maybe some personal goals that you're looking at as you guys enter this very important fall season.
Goals for the team would be to get more guys on board with like Trevor's headspace and DT's headspace.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I forgot about
for
Coach DT.
Yeah, and for years it had been um a few of us had been working hard, just trying to stay consistent with giving 110% at everything. And it was only like myself for a little bit and DT as well. And then after a bit of time, uh, Trevor joined in, and now we got the Melzos joining in, and it's like uh, we're running hills before practices. Like a few of us agreed to show up half hour before practice to run hills, and suddenly there's went from three of us to like eight of us are running these hills. And so my goal is like if we can get like all 15 guys to be ambitious enough to run hills consistently before practice, not only just to run hills, but just to want it that bad, like how dangerous would a team of like 15 guys who want it be?
Dangerous.
And
Absolutely.
as far as myself, I aim to uh, not only increase my knowledge of the game and what I should be doing as a captain and as just a leader on the team and on the field. how to set things up for the boys. Make that right crash happen. Not only that, but like I think this year is going to be a year where I'm really aiming to put it out, put my body on the line and see what I can do. Um, I'm thinking I've got a handful of years left in me, but I think the clock's starting to tick for me. So
I feel you.
we're gonna turn it up, and we'll see how truly unhinged I can get in the middle of a match. Like I know those who have played against me know I like to growl, I like to cackle. I get psychotic, but like I think this year is gonna be something different.
Hell yeah, man. Love to hear that. Dangerous stuff coming from the Gargoyles out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Steve, do you have any final words for the Sports by Compion fans, Gargoyle Nation at large?
Just as always, thank you for having the Gargoyles. We're always happy to, be invited to have a good time, and always going to be happy to come back if you ever need to just bounce some ideas off me. And as far as the fans watching, thanks for putting up with my jargon for however long we've been at this.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. If you are in the Appleton, Wisconsin area, or just don't want to be affiliated with the Wisconsin Oshkosh Club, just kidding, Oshkosh. Come on out to a practice, join Steve and his mighty Gargoyles, and become part of a recently playoff team. And very much looking to do it again, right, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Love to hear it, man. Thanks for coming on. Sports by Compion.